We are stoked to have you.
Thank you.
Like you guys have been
Just
the guys
get up on that mic, Michael.
made
just
us
right here. Just
check-
eat it
check.
up. Pull it in
Purlieu.
towards you.
Good job. He's already off to a good start.
Yeah.
Yep.
Check.
Yes.
Michael
good
made
job.
us Purlieu
All right. I like this.
for a long time. Pursue Purlieu.
Pursue Purlieu.
Purlieu is a verb.
Purlieu.
What does Purlieu mean again?
It means pure place.
Love
Or it means where the edge of the forest meets the edge of the king's reign. Yeah, so the thought is that the edge of the king's reign is like the architecture, and that the edge of the forest is the landscape. So landscape architecture.
I love how much thought you guys
I
put
know.
into that.
I'd say that's why I asked how long it took to find that name, because I like deep dive in stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
set the bar pretty high though. With Nate.
Well, I give credit to Taylor Boyle, who wishes he could be here. My business partner.
He's a busy man.
He's a busy man. He also has a sick young little one.
Oh,
So
we get it. We all get it.
yeah,
That's
Yeah,
where he should be.
I love that guy.
I do too. He's my best friend.
He's such a good dude. Such a good dude.
Yeah.
So most of the people I know are employed by you guys.
How many people do you know?
if they're not in this
How many
room.
employees do you have?
I mean, there's a lot.
He knows
If
22
it's a
people.
tight group,
22
tight group
people.
of friends.
Most of them. I only know 43. So there we go.
I love it. Yeah, you do know a lot of people. We have a lot of history.
We do have a lot of history.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys is awesome company did our landscape long time ago,
Yes.
and it's beautiful and looked really well. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
You've since sold that house.
I have.
He's
sold.
waiting for the call for the
Sold.
new job.
The new job. Yeah. No, but yeah, this company. So we're recording. Just so you know, heads up.
Oh, totally.
We're going. You're live in the
is this
podcast
okay?
now. Yeah, this is great.
Okay.
But this
say
company,
it.
I like how you just get in.
We
we get in.
It
Bo-
caught-
Bobby always gets
No,
caught.
it caught me for the longest time because I would all of a sudden I would notice it and be like, "Oh no, what have I just said?"
But the chit chat is where it's at.
Yeah.
So you guys set the bar in my book for like exceptional landscapes, and you're the designer of most of those landscapes. All of them.
Well, we have a great team
Okay.
that helps with the design. And so I oversee our design team, but we have Rachel and Chad and Eliana. They are also part of that. And so they help bring it to life as well.
Wow, that's awesome.
Did you go to school for this?
Yeah. So went to Cuesta and studied architecture.
Okay.
That's actually where Taylor and I met. And just actually didn't even know that landscape architecture was a thing. When I found out, I just totally shifted gears.
Why?
Something about, architecture in general, I loved the fact that I could graduate from college and it be focused on projects instead of tests.
Oh yeah.
It was a big thing. I was like, this is art and all that. It just made sense for me. And when I heard about landscape architecture, I was like, wait, we can do the same thing, but outside of the building, a similar thing. And I just fell in love with them. The fact that you could build rooms in essence outside and thinking of my childhood and all the memories of my childhood, a lot of them come from the outside. And so began to like dive into researching about what it was, what it meant, the theory behind it, and just ran with it. So,
Man, and you're gifted at it.
no, thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna plug Instagram right now, but just go on their Instagram page. What is that, Purlieu?
Bobby will send it to you because I couldn't find it, but it's because I don't
How
know
do you
how to
spell
spell
Purlieu?
Yeah.
Purlieu is Purlieu.
So people
And then
check that out on
landscapes.
Instagram. It's beautiful. I mean,
Thank you.
their landscapes are phenomenal.
Okay, so here's my question though, because I'm a dum-dum. I go in my backyard. I don't even know like where to begin. So how do you help people think through if they engage you guys about, I want my backyard to be something cool, like I don't know where to even begin though. How do you walk them through that process?
Yeah, totally. Well, I would say that inspiration photos are super helpful, and just it really puts everyone's mind in a physical form of, hey, this is a picture that I like, and then walking through that process of, I like the bench in this, or I like this tree. I like the feeling that I get when I look at this Sunset Magazine photo. I think that is a huge way, a very helpful way to bring all parties together in a similar vision. Why I share that is because what Jeff thinks is modern may be different than what Travis thinks is modern. And so lining up what that means is a helpful start for sure.
And so you have them do that for you,
Yeah. So what we do first is we, you can contact us on our website, and then we would have an initial phone call. And what that would do is then we would meet on site. We'd kind of walk through the space, get a feel for how you use the space or how you envision using the space. And then from there, we would put together a design proposal, send it over.
Turn that mic for me real quick, will you? Just rotate it out. There you go.
Like that.
Just the whole thing. Just turn it. There you go. Yeah.
I don't want to break it.
No, and there we go.
There we
that
go.
Beautiful
It's a little
voice
more-
of yours.
Oh, he just took over.
Yeah.
He took over the whole show.
Thank you.
Voice.
It's yours now.
Thank you. And where was I?
You were
Sorry.
talking about, I was asking about the photos and stuff in the process of how you
Yeah.
Get them to
So gathering inspiration photos comes as really that initial step. You could, the first time we meet on your house, we can look at them, but really it's when we start the process. And what's nice about when we start the process is we will have a base map developed of your site. And then that way we're looking at inspiration photos, and we have our iPad out, and we're actually drawing together. Okay, let's think about how these spaces come together. And so it's very collaborative and interactive.
I love that you said the feeling
Mm-hmm.
and not just the aesthetic, because I feel like that's something, depending on whether you're in North County, South County, whatever, it's like being able to design for the feeling that you want rather than, because you have to choose different plants, I imagine, that work
Totally.
in that area.
You
That's
might
cool.
catch me say aesthetic on this podcast, just so you know.
That's fair. Aesthetic works. Well, that's, it's an interesting question, because I know when we're meeting with clients, for us, clearly it's going to result in, well, if everything goes well, in the purchase or sell of a home, right? And so for you, it's going to result in a project. But we start with kind of a different tact a little bit to get into what's our client's why. And I think that's a more helpful place for us to start anyway. And so I'm curious with you, this will result in a landscape project, but how do you think about your goals or your client's goals and help them navigate the less sort of tactile elements of a project, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Well, our vision statement is creating memories that last generations. And when thinking of the why, I think walking through that process of what you want, what you need, in that space of thinking, what are the memories that I want to create with my family? Is it an experience at an outside dining table? Is it around a fire pit? Is it on some turf or a lawn to play soccer with my kids? And so I think defining how the spaces are being used and desired to being used help a lot with moving forward that, hey, we're creating memories through this process, and what are the things that you want to remember 20 years from now?
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
It is cool.
That's fun to think about.
Yeah, I have lots of memories of edging and mowing the lawn growing up.
Do you
That
really?
was
Just the work?
That was our job, yeah.
No, not so much fire pits or
Taking
tables,
care of the
but
landscape.
yeah.
I love where you're going with memories with landscapes. And so tie that in for us. Like, what's an experiential landscape? Like, what kind of memories can you form through landscapes? Like, help us, help our audience.
Yeah, well, I think I guess personally, when I think of my childhood, I don't know how many have played soccer, but World Cuppies, it's a great game. It's soccer stuff. But anyways, I didn't grow up in a huge home or anything, but we had a front yard and we had a lawn space, and we redid that lawn probably about 7 times.
Wow.
Purely out of just destroying it because of World Cuppies. And, I think if any of us think back to our childhood and think about those moments that we had as kids, whether it was the fort in the tree or it was the pool, the playing football on the street. I mean, that's part of the landscape as well.
Yeah.
So layering those in our memories and really, diving into what we want to see our kids experience, what we want to see our great grandkids experience, and so forth, is part of what we
love
help
that.
bring.
So cool.
What's a space that you guys have created? I've seen some of them, a lot of them on Instagram. That you guys just feed just always pops in like, oh my gosh, what do they do next? You know. But what's like some of those spaces that you've created that you're like, wow, I'm really proud of this. Like I could see a family gathering here and just having a great time. And what were some of the elements that were entailed?
Yeah, it's hard for me to answer that, Jeff. Gotta, you know,
because you're on the spot.
Well, I am on the spot, but I truly am so bought into every one of our projects.
Yeah.
That I feel like every one of them tells a story of the client's desires.
That's fair.
You know, are there some favorite projects? For sure. And part of those are ones that, you know, budget isn't much of a thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
There's full trust right away. And there's, you know, we go through the entire process, and there's, you know, very much collaborative, which is really all of our projects. But
is there one where you're like, oh, I could see a lot of memories being made around this, or
He wants you to say his house.
Yeah.
While he's teeing you
He's
up. No,
just
joking.
baiting you.
no, like
Yeah.
I mean, like, or maybe it's just an element that you're like, I love this element because it's going to bring people together and it's
for
gonna create
sure.
memories.
Yeah, no, this is great. So I would say on the residential side of things, there's a project we recently did actually in Trilogy in the Pomo that really, actually, she is an interior designer.
Oh, okay.
And so it's her personal home. And so walking into this interior, right away, you definitely hired someone to bring this to life. And obviously it was her.
right.
She hired herself. And just incredible designer. And we got to work together and like take it to a whole nother level. And they have this, you know, this large sliding door that opens out into a space where there's a water feature. And then to the left of it, kind of tucked in the corner, is a fire pit. On the far right is some turf, very tropical theme, which was fun to play with. And she has that in the interior too. And so this kind of like boho modern style just works super well. They got a cold plunge, they got a spa.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, there was a lot of fun factors to that. And really part of the fun is working with others that have their own ideas. And I often share this with homeowners. They know the space better than I do. Like some of them have been there for 20 years. Some of them just bought it 20 days ago.
Right.
But regardless, they've seen the space, they've experienced the space, and they know what they want to use it for better than I do. And I believe our role is to really walk through the process with them, coach them through like the whys and the design principles and the feelings, the overall just moment that they're
I
trying
love
to
that,
create.
Michael. That's awesome.
I got a practical question for you. What do you do when, let's say that we've got in the real estate world, we've got a seller looking to sell their home. They want to do something with the landscaping, or you've got a homeowner who, you know, just doesn't have a very big budget. Where's like the most bang for your buck, do you think, in terms of landscaping ideas?
Yes. So I'm biased as a designer. I believe that you can spend, let's just call it $20K, or you can spend, let's just throw out a number, $22K. The difference between the two, if one's designed and one's not, is, in my opinion, is drastic. And so I'd almost take off $2,000 of the installation to bring in the design to make it come together. And so I would start there.
Okay.
Personally. That being said, in thinking budget, the simplest thing would be to do a nice replant and mulch. That's about as bare
About
bone,
as cheap as possible.
about as cheap as possible. That being said, having someone with the knowledge of, hey, this plant is going to be this big, it's going to look like this, it should come next to this, just like an interior designer or an architect would put different facades or different textures and colors. It's the same principles with even just a simple plant palette.
That's so funny. I was just walking next to a house the other day, and they just redid their landscaping and they like replanted. I'm like, oh, that pine tree is only a foot away from the foundation. it looks cute right now, this little thing, but that's gonna be getting yanked out in 2 years or causing foundation issues or whatever, you know.
I think that even if it's a simple like consultation of, hey, I've got these 30 plants. Can someone come out here and just
Place these things.
I mean, really though, that is a huge thing that would be totally worth.
What
So
about
you guys do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I love that. Well, big difference. I mean, first of all, just appeal from the street, I think is a huge thing. What curb appeal? Wow.
Curb
Bobby.
appeal.
I feel like that is such a big ticket that we don't even notice a lot of times why we're drawn to a house or what we love about it. But in real estate, I would say that would definitely go pretty far, having some help with that.
What about, I was thinking about, you live in Shell Beach, and often the lots are really small, so what about smaller spaces where maybe you have some budget, but you have a small space, maybe front yard, backyard's tight. Like, what are ways you can utilize landscaping to open up the space?
I've seen some of the stuff you guys done is really cool.
Yeah. No. Well, thank you, Jeff. You're
Small
Oh my gosh.
spaces.
Romance
These guys. Well,
Oh,
dude. I mean, if he doesn't talk about
Should
what
we
I'm
just,
thinking, I'm
Bobby,
just
should we
gonna
just
say.
go? We'll go. You guys got that.
Please leave.
Need to be supervised.
Travis, some of my favorite projects are the smaller ones because the level of detail that can come into those, whether it's a high budget, medium, or low, you kind of have to have the details right. And so some strategies to that is, a simple one is let's just call it a rectangle, and there's, from the house, it's 15 feet to the fence. Creating a space where there's foliage and softens the fence that you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to see that. A trellis is a great option for someone to install. And what I love about it is it creates as big as of a green screen or a green wall as you want, and then it only takes up 6 to 8 inches. And so that's a strategy in the realm of, hey, this is a small space. How are we gonna get this lush feel, or let it not be this concrete tiny jungle?
I'm just going to riddle you with questions now. How about so when you have interior spaces, we have, the open concept was, I don't know, really big thing, but not always, paint colors, things like that. So how do you manage from a landscaping perspective trends? Like what's going to last forever, or what's a hot trend that how do you balance all that stuff?
That is a great question. I think about, okay,
It's not that good.
there are certain materials that have been around for a long time.
Like white little stones.
Those ugly little
Seventies.
things. White little stones.
Get rid of all those.
Yeah. Concrete, it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Brick, it's been around. There's been ways to, you can color or whatever, you can accent it and so forth. And so I think utilizing materials that are set in stone.
Nice. Well played, sir.
Like that. I mean, boulders are a great example. Like the organic shapes of boulders, what they do for a landscape, I think are a thing that will never go away. I mean, yes, there's different styles, and there's things that will never go away. Well, I think boulders, I think concrete, I think brick. Plants have been around for quite some time.
Been around
A little bit.
Safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, what about like landscaping inside of a house? I mean, I know you guys have done some crazy stuff.
No.
Just let them talk.
What's the word?
Get it out. You
No,
were
the
so quick.
atrium. Atrium.
Yeah.
Then I thought aviary, but that's a bird thing.
Yeah, that's a bird thing.
Because anyway, go ahead, continue. I saw a house like this, and it was so weird, but kind of cool.
just wait.
Like right in the middle.
Just wait.
Anyway,
Yeah.
continue,
So,
sir.
we've done quite a few little atrium design construction projects, and super fun. Love to do more of them.
Living walls. I want you to talk about your living wall.
Yeah.
Like you've done commercial living walls and things. I mean, how cool. Like
Yeah.
what is a living wall?
A living wall is a wall that's living. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
it's a think of it as a vertical planter with foliage, with plants.
And they're beautiful.
Thank you.
How does that get watered? Do you have a drip system installed inside?
Yeah, there's a whole irrigation system, and then it actually falls from the top all the way down. And the Floorfelt is the company that we work with. The material actually As it gets moist, it then creeps to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And so living walls are awesome. They
lot of
are
maintenance.
There is a lot of maintenance
Yeah, I
to
was
it.
like, don't get any ideas. You're not doing that this weekend. You need him.
No, Keller Williams, though, we could do it at the office. Maybe.
I've actually thought about it.
I
yeah.
don't doubt that. That's,
The trick with living walls too is drainage.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
You
because
have to plan for it.
You have
Yeah,
to
you
plan
can't do
for
it
it,
after
and
the
that's
fact.
usually the thing that it needs to be ahead of. It needs to be within the design of a new construction, or strategically figured out. I mean,
We're getting a saw, giant concrete saw, and just
There you
put in
go.
a big old drainage.
we have one at our office, and we got a little peephole in the back, and it just goes into a 5-gallon bucket, and it works.
It works. Take the bucket out.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's
it
awesome.
works.
It works.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, next question. I'm
Okay.
just like, I don't know. I'm
You're-
not
you're
going to a
drilling.
list,
Well,
but I want to
but
get to
hey,
so many things.
So, okay.
I love it.
With all the environmental
Mhm.
things that we've been concerned about, it had been drought, but like there's ways to do things that are environmentally more sustainable and more impactful.
Mhm.
What are some of those things that you guys look at when you're doing landscapes? And
Yeah, I mean, our overall vision, from the beginning, 2014, was that we would create self-sustaining landscapes. That we would capture rainwater, and that rainwater, however much we could capture with the square footage of the land and so forth, we would calculate it to the plants that would then be self-sustaining from the rainwater that comes in from the annual rain.
rain, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so that's overall vision, and that we would create rainwater system, design a landscape that fits that rainwater system, and then manage it throughout
Wow,
its years.
that's cool. Yeah, you guys call that what?
Rainwater harvesting.
You guys have a whole. You mastered this, I think.
Yeah, we created a DBA, doing business as Cultivate Rainwater Harvesting Systems,
Cool.
and so it's been great. It's for the passionate, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's so cool.
I've seen some of the ones where you've done like big, like huge installs, like that cover must be acres. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty significant.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the sky's the limit. And what's interesting about rainwater is if you have a 5,000 gallon system, the brains that it takes to do a proper job of it, you can have a 50,000 gallon system,
Really?
right? So you're just paying for the tanks at that point. So the higher volume you have of water, the lower the cost per gallon.
Wow, it's interesting.
It's cool.
That's really cool.
That's very cool. Well, how many of those have you done? Or what percentage of the projects have that?
Not as many as we'd like.
Yeah, that seems
Yeah.
so cool.
We've done, probably 20,
Okay.
25. Yeah, over the years.
I'm really interested in that.
Yeah. It's
It'd be fun to see.
it's definitely what we feel is the future of what has to happen. The thing that's holding it is cost of material, right? Because you want to have a buyback. You want to have hey, I'm giving this initial investment. What's my
Yeah.
payback? It's
my
like
payoff,
like
yeah.
solar,
Like
right?
solar.
What's the material you'd use? Like, how does it actually work?
Yeah, so it's like a big poly tank. You see them like with
Yeah.
wells.
Okay.
And so we would utilize those and capture from the downspouts coming down to what we call our lift station that then goes into the tanks.
Oh, sweet.
And then that pumps it out into the irrigation system.
How much does that run? Is it hard to say?
Hard to say. I would say like right now it's probably like $2.50 a gallon.
Okay.
So if you're thinking about
I don't know math. You have to do the math for me. So like $1 million?
So they're like 5,000 5,000
I just did quick
5,000
math.
gallon tanks, right? So
5 gallon tanks, yeah.
yeah, so you're
Still
12,500
Yeah.
ish.
$12,500 or
Roughly, yeah.
water units.
I've got an extra tank. I'm getting all excited right now. I'm like, I got an extra tank.
Yeah.
I will.
12,000 bucks.
If you could come up with a lot of tanks for cheap,
Yeah, that doesn't
totally
seem
worth
like that
No.
seems totally worth it
That's
to me.
that's
Yeah.
doable.
That's
it. Yeah. What's interesting is how quickly it gets filled up and how quickly it goes out.
yeah, you're like, we use a lot more water than you think.
Yeah, like the 50,000 gallon tank systems that we've used, like those are the ones that really make an impact
Yeah.
and can really be
Wow.
self-sustaining.
10 tanks.
Do you work with Words are so hard for me today.
Vineyards?
Vineyards.
Vineyards?
I'm just thinking of other.
I wanted to let him burn.
I know.
was gonna let him
Jeez, Bobby,
do it.
it's
Sorry.
warm in here.
Jeff's so much nicer than me.
Anyway, you know what
Do you
I'm
work with
talking about.
vineyards?
Do you work with vineyards
Yards
or other
fine, yes.
agriculture role?
Yeah.
I love you, Michael.
Yeah, man.
No, absolutely. Yeah, we work with vineyards quite often. We've had the opportunity to do some really cool design, build, and management projects. And in terms of rainwater, we have proposed it, but they have so many water needs that without the space to hold it, it just financially doesn't make.
Yeah,
you need acres for how much water.
really.
I mean, depending
Dang.
on the
I guess so, right?
depending on the
Feed them
vineyard
all.
and how many plants it have.
I'm just going to be done for now. So you guys just ask
Bobby,
the
sir.
questions.
I'm excited.
What are we?
I can't wait.
What are we missing, dude? What's something that people should
I know.
think about?
I just said I was done, and then I had a thought,
You are on one
which
today.
I don't know.
He was not like this before.
sorry. Yeah, Michael.
They're all excited because you're here.
Yeah,
Travis, I think you need to surf.
we need to surf. So I saw him at
Is this your surf
Wadsworth.
buddy?
Well, I hope so. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, it was great. I was actually just cruising by and just checking out the surf. I didn't have the time to go.
Yeah, you
I
have
just-
family in town.
I just wanted to,
Just check it out.
Just had to
check
feel
it
the
out.
breeze.
I did this
Just had to
morning. I
check-
was almost late to our meeting. It wasn't great.
yeah.
Anyway, the question is,
Okay, sorry. Back on track.
sorry. We live
It was
on this.
great seeing you.
It was great seeing you too. Bromance.
We're gonna
extended.
edit this podcast a little bit.
No, this is a good one. Okay, so we live on the Central Coast, and it's incredible outdoors. So how do you sort of take an indoor-outdoor space concept? Like, do you have people wanting to do that a lot, and how do you introduce that?
Yes, definitely. So one thing that's like a really simple thing to do is a lot of times, actually that project, well, let me back up. Carrying the ceiling height of your interior out into your exterior is a really simple way to bring that inside-outside feel.
Mm-hmm.
That obviously works best if you have a pergola that's either attached or detached from your home. There have been projects where we've done it attached to the house, and others that we've done it detached. And a way to think about it too is, a hallway is roughly 5 feet wide or so, and so coming out of a sliding door, thinking of a hallway, there's a nice clean path that leads into a sunken patio space that the height of the ceiling matches 10 feet behind me, the ceiling in the living room. And so always having a reason why something is the scale and the height is critical to well-designed spaces.
You know what, you mentioned trilogy, and I know a lot of those homes out there have those sort of accordion glass. I'm not sure what you call them, those glass walls, basically,
yeah.
that you can.
They're accordion doors.
Yeah.
Accordion doors? Yeah, I don't trust my words
You can
today.
open them.
You can.
But
They're
they
doors
fold.
that open.
Yeah.
No, but they like pocket. They kind of almost fold into each other or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, seems like another great option because you can just open all that up and then you're inside, but feels like you're outside.
Totally. And what's cool about that is the scale then increases.
Yeah.
And those homes are a good size and higher ceilings, and so you can create a hallway out into a dining experience or a fire pit experience. I say sunken because all of a sudden when you sink it, it becomes more intimate, and then you have a sweet space together.
And in winter, you can have a pool there.
Yeah.
With the rainy
Exactly.
beginning.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. What are some hot trends you're seeing in landscaping
Oh man,
besides the white rocks from Jeff's place?
My gosh, those white rocks.
some hot trends. I think I'm always trying to think of the new thing.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So like the trends,
I'll accept that.
I think that there is a trend of modern path. You've seen concrete rectangles,
little green,
ding, ding, ding.
green concrete.
I love the look. I think it looks great. What we try to do is like take a concept and make it better, right? Like in any way we can. So let's say the client comes with 5 different inspiration photos with that concrete modern path, which again, I am a fan of. What our design team and I are thinking about is, hey, how do we make this custom? How do we make this theirs? Do we do an exposed aggregate on the concrete? Do we do an integral color
Love that.
on the concrete? Do we have the saw cut joints be angled at this angle because it then leads us to the water feature that's in the corner?
Oh, wow.
There's so many different ways to make a space, elevate the space. And that's, again, kind of coming back to like, man, design is so critical
and
to
be
the process.
cohesive with the style of the house too, because I love that when people are like, I love this modern look, and you're like, cool, you have an old, but whatever it is, or a Spanish house, like being able to bring those elements but really meld them together. I feel like the designer is so helpful in that.
Totally. What was so fun with that one project with the interior designer, her home, was we got to play with tile together. We're talking about the bathroom. We're talking about the water feature that we, are installing, the copper spouts that are coming out of the water feature, and how that comes back to, the copper sink. There's so many fun layers to it. The story of the landscape is like, it makes you fall in love with your house. It makes you fall in love with your space and something you can enjoy and be proud of and create those memories that last generations.
So good.
So true.
Amazing. All right. Well, shall we get to know Michael a little bit more?
Let's get to know this
We
guy.
know he's a surfer and
Surfer.
rad guy. Okay.
Lovely man.
4 questions for you. I don't think we sent these to you. So these are the questions that we ask every
we go.
guest to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So you ready?
I'm ready.
Question number 1. What's your favorite book, movie, or TV show?
Is this rapid fire?
That's, not really.
Okay.
Doesn't
Very
have
good.
to be.
Okay. Book. Can I do all of them?
Yes, please.
Okay. Book, Bible,
Okay.
or Unoffendable by
Okay.
Brant Hansen.
Oh, yeah. I know that guy.
Yeah.
He was a blogger for a long time. That's when I first
Yeah.
heard about him.
It's a great book. Read it like 3 times. The only
Okay.
book I've read 3 times. Movie, Interstellar.
Oh, that's a good one.
Pride and Prejudice.
Wow.
My
Love it.
wife and I, we got a thing. And the other thing was
Podcast. I mean, besides Guiding You Home.
besides
this
you
one,
guys.
so,
Yeah. Oh, podcast. I'm a sports guy. So Julian Edelman. Do you guys know
Oh, yeah.
Julian Edelman?
Football player.
Football player.
Yeah.
There's just the clips, on YouTube. Those are great.
Okay.
The shorts.
Let's go with
The
that.
shorts. Okay. Do you remember question number 2?
Sure. Describe your ideal day on the Central Coast, but we do like to include some like food stops.
Okay. Ideal day, definitely a surf to start the day. And then some beef jerky,
Mm-hmm.
homemade beef jerky,
Yeah.
deliciousness with salt.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Is that a hack after surf?
It's amazing. It's so good. It's definitely a hack.
Definitely
Okay.
hack.
Okay.
A big jug of water for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then my family would come and meet me at the beach.
Mm.
I'd then play with the kids in the sand and so forth. Then around like 11 or so, we'd go back into the water because it's summer and
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to surf again.
Mhm.
Bring the kids out there. It's the time for them to learn. I already got my fix.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a barbecue on the beach
Yeah, buddy.
with just delicious tri-tip.
Mm.
Shout out to Old Slow Barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
I just have
Maybe
that.
order that over.
Yeah, maybe just had it
Yeah,
catered.
there we go. We
We'll
fit
have
it in.
We'll have it catered. And then about 3, probably go back home, do a little cat nap, wake up, watch a movie with my kids.
Oh, buddy.
That sounds like a
Perfect.
pretty good day.
That's an ideal day.
That's a great day.
That's a great day.
Okay. Question number 3. Who's the most influential person in your life?
I would say my mom and dad, for sure, are the most influential. I think that as I've gotten older, I've realized more and more how impactful and how incredible they are.
Mm.
As a kid, you have no idea. And then you go through life experiences and you're like, man, my mom and my dad,
They're awesome.
they are awesome. So
Good stuff.
I think they are definitely Jeff Landon as well.
I love you, buddy.
Obviously.
I do love Jeff.
Yeah.
There's some leaders in my church that are definitely have I don't know where I'd be without him. And my business partner Taylor, I feel like both he and I just we bounce things off of each other, and he makes me want to be better every day. we have a lot of fun together. So
That's cool.
It's cool. Great.
that was a
And
long list of
How
info.
do how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, our website is a great spot. PurlieuLandscapes.com. Also our Instagram, a little message on there. You'll connect with me, and
Sweet.
and it's a good spot to land.
Man, that's awesome.
Thanks so much for your time.
That was a fun podcast.
It was
man.
fun. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on here.
Hey, thank you. I'm honored. I didn't even get to say thank you for having me.
Well, there you go.
There it is.
Hey, thank you for
Editing.
having
You're
me.
welcome.
You're welcome.
I would have loved to say that in the beginning,
Yeah.
but here we are.
Here we are.
You are.
It counts. Okay. Thanks.